Okay, get this. Imagine two ancient civilizations thousands of years and miles apart. We're talking ancient Greece and Mesopotamia. They have zero contact, no shared language, absolutely no way of knowing the other one even exists, and yet somehow they both tell the exact same violent, foundational story about how the world was created. I mean, how is that even possible?
Yeah, this is way more than just a coincidence. What we're looking at here is a shared blueprint for reality, a parallel myth about gods, monsters, and the seriously bloody birth of the cosmos. It's a story that starts with family drama and it ends with a whole new world order. So, what exactly is this story, and why on earth did two completely separate cultures feel the need to tell it? So, let's get into it. And you should know, our story doesn't begin with order and light. Nope, it starts with chaos and darkness. This is not a peaceful creation. It's a family drama of cosmic proportions, kicking off with a formless beginning and a conflict brewing between the very first parents and their kids. And the concepts of the beginning are fascinatingly different, but also kind of similar. For the Greeks, it was chaos, just a void and emptiness. But for the Mesopotamians, it was Tiamat and Apsu, the primordial mother of salt water mixing with the father of fresh water. So one is just nothingness, and the other is this fertile but completely unordered cosmic soup. Both, though, are about to be filled with life. And this, right here, is where the trouble starts. In both stories, a new generation of gods explodes onto the scene. They are loud, they're vibrant, just brimming with creative energy. But this energy, it's not exactly welcomed. The original father figure looks at his own kids not with pride, but with fear and resentment. He decides they're a threat, one that has to be eliminated. I mean, the theme is identical. In the Greek myth, the father Uranus, who is the sky, is so horrified by his children that he literally shoves them back into their mother Gaia's womb. Just unbelievable. And in the Mesopotamian story, the father Apsu is driven nuts by his children's hilarity and noise, and he straight up plots to murder them all. It's the exact same paternal fear, playing out in two totally different worlds.
Well, you can probably guess that this kind of repression isn't going to last, right? The father's tyranny sparks a rebellion. And in both myths, the pattern is eerily the same. A son, with the help of his mother, rises up to violently overthrow the patriarchal oppressor.
And you see this perfect three-step pattern emerge. First, the father suppresses. Second, the mother conspires with one of her sons who's been trapped or targeted. And third, that son commits an act of shocking violence to seize power. This isn't just a story beat, it's a recurring psychological formula. So let's look at these rebel sons. In Greece, you've got Kronos. His mother, Gaia, furious at Uranus, makes a sickle, gives it to him, and from inside the womb, Kronos reaches out and castrates his own father. In Mesopotamia, the son Ea overhears his dad's murder plot, uses magic to put him to sleep, and then just slaughters him. In both cases, a son kills his father to survive and take his place. It's brutal. But here's the thing. Overthrowing the king, it doesn't break the cycle. Not at all. It just hits the reset button. Kronos, the rebel son, now becomes the paranoid father. He's terrified that the exact same thing is going to happen to him, that one of his kids will rise up and destroy him, just like he did to his own dad. And this fear drives him to do something just unthinkable. He swallows each of his children whole the moment they're born. But just like his mother Gaia before her, his wife Freya plots against him. She hides their youngest child, Zeus, and tricks Kronos into swallowing a rock instead. The pattern is set. Another rebellion is now officially inevitable. Okay, so all of this is building to a final, epic showdown. The stage is set for a third-generation hero god, a new champion who has to fight one last cosmic battle to finally end the cycle and establish a permanent new world order. In the Greek corner, that hero is Zeus. He frees his siblings from his father's stomach, and he leads the new Olympian gods in an all-out war against his dad, Kronos, and the old generation of Titans. In Mesopotamia, the hero is Marduk. He's chosen by the new gods to be their champion, against the original mother goddess, Tiamat, who, in her rage, has transformed into a terrifying chaos monster. And listen, these were not quick fights. The war between Zeus's Olympians and the Titans, the Titanomachy, was a brutal, world-shattering conflict that raged for a full decade. The fate of the entire cosmos was literally hanging in the balance. Marduk's victory is just as epic, but man, it is way more graphic. He defeats the great monster Tiamat, and then, as the Enuma Elish describes, he literally sliced her in half like a fish for drying. He uses one half of her body to create the sky and the other to create the earth, building an ordered world from the corpse of original female chaos. So what's the end result of all this? Zeus wins his war, and he imprisons the old gods in the pit of Tartarus. Marduk wins his and creates the physical world. But the result is exactly the same. Both are crowned the undisputed, supreme king of the gods. A new, permanent, patriarchal order has been established through absolute violence. Okay, so we have these two nearly identical stories of generational warfare that end with a male god establishing order. The big question is, what does this actually tell us about ourselves? What is our mythic inheritance from this incredible story? This timeline, this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Just look at where we are. Primordial chaos, the birth of gods, a cosmic war, the crowning of a new king. And only after all of that is settled, at the very, very end, is humanity created. In our own foundational myths, we are a total afterthought. So why were we even made? Well, the Mesopotamian text is brutally honest about it. The new ruling class of gods didn't want to do the hard labor of maintaining the universe. So Marduk created humans from the blood of a defeated god for one single purpose: to be their slaves, so the gods could kick back and relax. And this brings us right back to the core of it all. Why this story? Why is the blueprint always a male god wresting control from either a chaotic void or a powerful primordial female entity? What deep-seated anxiety does this pattern reveal? When you really break it down, these aren't just creation stories. They are cultural blueprints for patriarchy. They encode this deep anxiety over who's next in line, a fear of the immense, uncontrollable creative power of the female, what some have even called womb envy, and they explicitly equate the feminine with chaos. The story serves to justify male rule as the necessary force that brings order to that chaos. But you might be asking, why did this version of the story become so dominant? Because while countless oral traditions probably existed, this was the narrative that got codified. It survived because it was written down, which gave it a sense of permanence and authority that other stories just didn't have. And this leads scholars who study these texts to a really powerful, kinda chilling conclusion. The technology of writing itself became a tool for cementing this worldview. With writing comes patriarchy. Once you have the power to write history, you have the power to write men as the main characters. So you see, this is so much more than just a myth from 4,000 years ago. It's like the source code for a narrative that frames male authority not as a choice, but as a cosmic victory for order. It's the story that positioned humanity as servants in a world already built by the gods. A story whose echoes still shape our assumptions about power, gender, and chaos, even today.